Welcome everyone. Today I will be talking to you about natural birth. The United States is one of the most advanced first world countries when it comes to a lot of different things, except birth. The U.S. ranks worse than Iran and many other third world countries in maternal mortality rates. This is according to the CIA. This astounding fact is what made me want to look deeper into this issue. If you can look on this, this is the United States, and this is like most of the third world countries I'm speaking of. This is the percentage, 30.1% through 35%, that's the United States, and the other ones are 15% and below. And this is cesarean rates. If we look at this too closer, you can see that the United States is a lot with both respects of maternal mortality rate and cesarean, we rate higher in both than a lot of third world countries do. This is crazy to me. I don't understand how we can be this technologically advanced and yet rate underneath these third world countries. Think about if your mother died. It would affect your entire family, and it would take generations to get over this terrible tragedy. Maternal mortality is a very terrible thing, and through my research, what I found was astounding. I found that some of the deaths were women who either had medication during birth or had a cesarean, but most of the deaths were women who had both. Today, I will cover why the cesarean rate should be about 5%, why natural birth is better than a cesarean section, and how our lives will benefit from this change. This is important because the maternal mortality rate is real and it can affect you and everyone around you. Let's start with why the cesarean rates are so high. One reason is that the doctors are taught to perform under the worst circumstances. So when they're in medical school, they are taught to perform under high stress, high demand, high everything. And so they will view hundreds of different cesarean sections and even assist in them. But it is very, very unlikely that a doctor in medical school will ever view or assist in a natural vaginal birth, when 95% of the births in the world are natural vaginal births. This is a problem. This is why when a doctor thinks anything is going wrong, they're going to go to what they're comfortable with, which is cesarean, because that's what they were trained to do. Birth is also different for every woman that is giving birth. I'm going to have a different birth outcome than you will, or Kayla will, and doctors will have their own times, so they kind of want to fill a bed, empty a bed, and get the next person in because they have so many people coming into the hospital. So when a woman isn't reaching the right centimeter at the right time, he will say, or she will say, I think we need to induce you. And the most common drug that they would use for inducing is called Pitocin. It is a synthetic form of oxytocin, which just makes your cervix dilate and makes your uterus contract. And so with Pitocin, what happens is your uterus actually contracts, and it's more extreme, and it's a lot longer lasting, so the mother is in excruciating pain. I personally, if I was induced on Pitocin, would get an epidural, and I'm completely against medication. So when the mother she doesn't have a lot of education about all the birth stuff, and she's given this Pitocin, and she's crying, she's screaming, she's like, get me something to stop this pain. What the doctor will do is get her an epidural, and what an epidural does is it contracts with the Pitocin and actually slows down the contractions. And so then what they have to do is give her more Pitocin, and meanwhile the baby's inside her feeling all of these contractions. So then the baby becomes in distress, and the doctor automatically goes, cesarean. We are giving you cesarean. This is what I found is very prevalent in why a lot of women get cesareans, is because they are induced. I have done several different interviews with some of my mom's friends and just some of the cheerleaders' moms and who have had cesareans, and I say this story and they're like, that's exactly what happened to me. Natural birth is better for the family and more fulfilling. You can have your natural birth in a birthing center or in a hospital or in a hospital birthing center, and you can have it in many different ways. Many women that actually do go this route will do it under the care of a midwife. This is a picture of Ina Mae Gaskin and the farm in Tennessee. It's called The Farm. And she has delivered over 10,000 babies and only 2 were delivered by cesarean section. This is a percent of 0.0002. So if you compare this to the percent of the United States, which is 31.2%, the problem is very evident because obviously not 31% of the population needs to have cesareans. And this was according to Ina Mae Gaskin and the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. With some work and some knowledge, we can change our country for the better. Women should be educated more when they are in high school so that they know what different options they have. If young women today had a class in their senior year of high school that taught them about the different ways that they can give birth and all the biological things that happen during birth, I think that a lot more of them would look at it going to the hospital differently. And a lot of them would really think about what this medication is going to do when it goes into my body and then in turn my baby's body. If the United States could just reduce the cesarean births down to what is absolutely needed, then this would help everyone. Less people would be in the hospitals, therefore, for birth, so therefore there would be more room for people with life-threatening problems, and the doctors would be able to give more attention to them. Also, there would be more jobs for all medical workers because then there would be more jobs in the hospitals for different physicians, and there would be more jobs for midwifery, which a lot of people are now looking into. The maternal mortality rate would also decrease, and we know this because a lot of the time what happens with maternal mortality rate is a child and a mother are sent home from the hospital too early, and maybe a piece of the placenta is still in her body, and she notices something's wrong, but too late. It's already infected, and by the time she goes into the hospital, she's pretty much already dead. So the doctors don't have time. They have a bunch of other patients that they have to take care of, and they simply just do not have the time to go to the woman's home and do a checkup on her. And by the time she comes in for her 2-week checkup, she's already passed away. So you can see in a lot of different countries that this is not a problem because the rate of midwifery is so high, and the midwives will go to the woman's home and do a checkup on them 3 days after birth, a week after birth, very commonly. In order to make these changes, it's going to take a major change in the way we view birth and the way society wants us to view birth. And if we do end up making these changes, then there will be thousands of different jobs for many people, a decrease in maternal mortality rates, and a more successful United States overall. There are many benefits to a lower cesarean rate in the United States, so let's go over them again. The cesarean rate in the United States should be approximately 5% because only that many women actually need them to survive. Natural birth is better for all women because it is just what the body has been doing for thousands of years. And all of our lives would be changed if the cesarean rate was decreased. I will ask you this. Would you want your daughter or granddaughter to have an unnecessary surgery if she was given the right treatment? Then why do we in the United States look at birth as a problem, an emergency? Why do we look at it this way? I mean, it's a very good question. We need to change our views on what birth is and how we view it, because birth is a natural, beautiful miracle of life, and we see it as a problem that we need to fix. Let's change our views on birth, and in turn, let's decrease the cesarean rate and the maternal mortality rate. And this is my bibliography. Oh, there it is. Any questions, anyone? Okay.